remain before a deadline set by the West African Regional Bloc to release and reinstate Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum or face possible force. Bazoum says he's a hostage and pleads for the US and other partners to step in and, he says, help us.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. And happy football season to you. I know if you're a high school fan or maybe a fan of another team in the state that's already started practice, you're like, hey, man, football's been going on for us for a few days. But for South Carolina Clemson, today marked the spot. Now, I know Coastal Carolina's been underway as well. So for you Coastal fans, football season's already here. For Gamecocks and Tigers, it started today. We were at South Carolina this morning. Gamecocks kicking things off with their practice at about 9:20 this morning. No media availability for the Gamecocks today. Then we made our way up to Clemson, where Dabo Swinney met with the media about 3:15, came in for that, and then the Tigers have been on the practice field since about 4. And we were able to watch some of that. So we'll bring you some of Dabo Swinney's comments coming up. Also, comments from the newest member of the Gamecock tight end room, or one of them, Trey Knox, who transferred from Arkansas. Going to bring that to you tonight as well, plus George Bryan, Jeff Owens. And we are on standby as South Carolina's got 2 key prospects who are going to be announcing commitments this evening. One is in the 2026 class. That's the quarterback, Landon Duckworth, who plans to post something on his social media accounts and had said he would do it at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Obviously, it's 6:07, and nothing has come out yet, so we're standing by on that. And the other one is the wide receiver, Jonathan Paylor, from Burlington, North Carolina, who was scheduled for a 6 o'clock announcement on a YouTube stream. That's been pushed back to 6:15, so we're monitoring that. And if all works out, if the audio's good, the connection's good, and they stay on time, we'll bring that to you once they get to the part where he's going to make the announcement. We're not going to sit through all the buildup. So that's what we're doing tonight here on Sports Talk. And, of course, the college football world continues to, in some ways, implode. It's on fire. And Dabo Swinney today, Chris, said that his thoughts are along the lines of my thoughts, which might scare him if he knew that we were thinking along the same lines. And that is, he believes eventually we'll go to a sort of a national association, one big league for the big teams with governance over them, separate from anything else. He believes that's what all this will be headed to. It could be 28 teams. It could be 36 teams. It could be who knows how many, but he believes that's where all of this will eventually wind up with all this movement of schools. And we've had some action today, haven't we?
We have, and I don't know that Dabo is all that wrong. I'm just curious about his point regarding governance. Who's going to handle, who are they going to put in charge? Are we finally going to have a czar of college football to handle everything? I don't know that the schools could trust anybody, because obviously they don't trust anyone in the NCAA right now, nor their own conferences, because they're hearing one thing and seeing things transpire the other way, including today it appears Oregon and Washington are going to follow Southern Cal and UCLA to the Big Ten. So the exodus out of the Pac-12 continues. Plus, at some point in time, I think tonight, we may find out that Utah and Arizona State are applying or have already applied for formal membership to the Big 12. There's evidently, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, a conference call tonight with Big 12 presidents and chancellors to discuss their membership. Arizona applied, and they've already been approved. So at least Arizona follows Arizona State. So that rivalry, it looks like, may stay intact. However, news out of Oregon today, Phil, is something you and I were chatting about, kind of joking on, but actually pretty serious, tongue-in-cheek, that South Carolina and Clemson may want to put something on the books to make sure that game never goes away, because it appears Oregon State's the Civil War, if I recall my rivalry game names, may not happen once Oregon goes into the Big Ten, and who knows what happens unless Oregon State is able to follow them into the Big Ten. So that's been sort of the day today.
Yeah, we better get some law on the books to say, I mean, if we want this, I mean, if the people of South Carolina want it, and I think the people of South Carolina want this more than they want their tax refunds, is South Carolina and Clemson playing football. And so we had better, when I say we, the state, the legislature, had better take some action, because things could, who knows what direction things could move in, and they could find themselves in a situation where it might not be possible, at least in terms of the conference's direction, to play the game. But then, I mean, who wins out? Conference rules, conference scheduling, or state law? I would think state law would win out, but we need to do something to make sure and protect this series, because, yeah, you're right. To see the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State come to an end, that would be just an absolute complete shame, just like Texas and Texas A&M was an absolute complete and total shame that was ended. I guess it will restart in some way now they'll both be in the SEC. So anyway, this has been an ongoing, non-stopping turn of events throughout this week involving the Pac-12 and what's left of the Pac-12. And this is a shame, right? It's a shame that the West Coast is not going to have a – now, like maybe you said or somebody else said last night, well, it was Morgan. Mike Morgan said, look, they're still going to be playing games at UCLA and Southern Cal and Washington, and they're just going to be in the different leagues. But I mean, the West Coast is not going to be represented by a major power conference, it sounds like now.
Well, and it's fascinating. I'm not sure we've had one that totally disappeared, that it would have fallen into the Power Five mantra many, many years ago, since the Southwest Conference went away. When Arkansas joined the SEC, and a couple of years later, we had the forming of the Big 12, and now we may be witnessing the death knell of the Pac-12. And I saw a fascinating question. I know we don't have much time here, but maybe we can circle back to it later. But there was a question posed on Yahoo with all the movements, Power 5 schools going to different conferences, from whether it be the Pac-12 to the Big 12 or the Pac-12 to the Big 10, or from the ACC like Maryland up to the Big 10. Can you find me a school that has made a move from Power 5 to Power 5 in the last 25 years that has had ultimate success on the field because they moved into another league? Not talking money, not talking finances, but talking about just improving the product they put on the field because they moved into another league from where they were.
Yeah. That's good. Good point. Now, Dabo Sweeney today was asked the question, and he gave a long answer, and I thought he gave an excellent answer, which is why, I mean, if you're Clemson, people are worried about the difference in the money. Okay, this conference, their teams are making X amount. This conference, their teams are making X amount. And Sweeney made a very correct point just talking about his program. And he says it's about the 85 that you recruit, and it's about how you coach them, and it's about competing against everybody else. He says, in his opinion, the money, it doesn't mean anything. He said, this is Sweeney now, they beat Alabama in 2 national championships, and Alabama makes a heck of a lot more money. Alabama has a heck of a bigger budget. Alabama out-recruits them every year. He said all these things are really frivolous, and he doesn't believe that's what people should be pointing at. And maybe he's making an excellent point about that. You talk about the money and all the money you're making. Okay, is money buying you happiness? Is money buying you wins? Who's still winning championships? Clemson has proven that you can win championships without being the richest guy on the block, without having the biggest budget. Now, they recruit extremely well. I mean, he said, they've never been named number 1 in recruiting, but, year after year, Clemson always has an excellent recruiting class. It's not like they don't have talent. But he said the argument to move for the sake of money because you think that's going to help you win, that falls on deaf ears with him. And I think he makes a point.
And he's right. Yeah, and I think he's right. I mean, it's Texas A&M gotten considerably better since they joined the SEC. Maryland certainly hasn't improved its product from the ACC to the Big Ten. I mean, you're going to have to search and really search to find a team that's moved from big conference to big conference. Heck, Colorado is moving back and forth. They haven't improved their product from going to the Pac-12 now back to the Big 12. So I think Dabo's hit on something there. You may improve your finances, but it doesn't appear you're improving what's going on between the lines.
All right, we're going to go to the break and then come back and perhaps join in on this Jonathan Paylor announcement, which is set for right about now as far as the starting of the announcement. Hasn't started yet, but it should be starting up here pretty soon. And we'll bring that to you. And we're also waiting on the announcement from Landon Duckworth, which has not come out yet either. All right, so to the break we go, and then we'll come back with that. And as we go to the break, we'll tell you our phone number when we get to phone calls, 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And since 2002, more than $4.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund scholarships and grants for South Carolina students. Learn more about the lottery's impact at sceducation.lottery.com/education wins. And playing for fun is a win for education. We're up at Clemson. The Tigers are wrapping up their first practice. They're going to have another media session with a couple of players, Will Shipley and Barrett Carter. And Dabo Swinney said Will Shipley will return kicks. He said their goal is to get the ball in his hands as many ways as possible. Handing it to him, tossing it to him, passing it to him, kicking it to him. That's the plan. Be right back.
Dumpster Plus is your solution to a more cost-effective and professional work site. Dumpster Plus provides a roll-off dumpster and a porta-john in one. Give them a call at 803-500-5094 and ask them about two services for the price of one. It's one call, one delivery, two services. Locally owned and operated in Columbia, and that means you'll talk to a real live local person, ready to get what you need with a 24-hour turnaround guarantee. Standalone dumpsters are also available. Whether your worksite is residential or commercial, big or small, near or far, you'll save money with Dumpster Plus. Waste management solutions never look so good. Call Dumpster Plus at 803-500-5094. That's 803-500-5094 for Dumpster Plus.
It all builds up to this at Darlington Raceway.
If you're going to kick off the playoffs, why not do it big?
Green flag is up.
Like Labor Day weekend big.
That's how you make a move. And around goes Truex.
Like Southern 500 big. The only thing bigger than the action will be the experience of seeing it live.
Tight.
NASCAR playoffs weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 2nd and 3rd. Get your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company, then talking to you, and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
George Bryant here for Tsunami Bar Sports, and some say the fun is in the winning. I say the fun is in the training. And Tsunami Robbie, what do you say?
George, we all know you get more done when you're having fun. This technology is different. It's engaging, but it's also a lot of fun to use.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any Tsunami Bar order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today.
If you're looking to stay hydrated this summer, turn toward a southern favorite, sweet South Carolina watermelons. One slice is equivalent to a glass of water and is just as effective as sports drinks for hydration. If you don't believe us, you can ask the Palmetto State's top football teams. The SC Watermelon Association will be serving up slices after summer practice to keep our teams fueled and hydrated. Visit scwatermelon.org for all the details and look for ripe South Carolina watermelons in your hometown.
hope, life, and the great palmetto. What do these things have in common? Scholarship dollars. The SC Hope, the Life, and the Palmetto Fellow Scholarships are funded by the lottery players of this great state. And after 20 years, you've invested over $7 billion in education. $7 billion. Impressive. The South Carolina Education Lottery. When you play, we all win.
We are back with you here on Sports Talk Media Network, and we're still waiting on announcements from the two guys. In fact, 24/7 is handling the Paler announcement, and they posted that they're running late, going through some final setup. Thank you for tuning in. So we're being held hostage by these two, and nothing from Landon Duckworth
How
yet.
does this
He's
happen?
supposed to announce at 6 o'clock. So, you were saying something, Chris?
I was just trying to figure out, how does this always happen with these recruits? You schedule something for 6 o'clock, and here it is 6:20, and they haven't even started yet. I don't understand. I guess time is more critical to those of us in radio than it is to the kids who are going to be playing football.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a technical issue. You know, they might be having trouble with bandwidth, getting online or waiting on somebody to arrive, whatever the case may be. It always is something. I never expect these things to go off on time, though sometimes they do. Sometimes I've seen them sit down at the scheduled time and just immediately go right to their announcement. That's what I really appreciate when they do that. While I've got a moment, let me tell you about what's happening down at the beach. Of course, weather is still very warm in South Carolina, maybe not as hot as has been, but the beach is still the coolest place on earth to get away to. And if you're thinking about getting away to the beach here in August, getting a fun vacation before football season, or just getting away for a few days, you need a place to hang out, to lay your head down and enjoy a comfortable surrounding that fits your needs. Well, you know who to call. Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate. The phone number, 843-237-4246, online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. Let Jimmy take care of all your needs at the beach, whether it's Pawleys Island or Litchfield or Garden City or down towards Georgetown where Bergie's hanging out tonight. That phone number again, 843-237-4246, pauliesvacationrentals.com. Let Jimmy Smith and the gang help you out down there. You and Smitty hanging out later tonight in Georgetown, hitting the bars there along the river?
If I can get Finn to calm down for 10 minutes, maybe that would be the case. But every time I bring him down here, new smells, new place, he's all out of sorts. He's already barked at some dogs that happen to walk by. He can't see. He can just hear. So this is always a challenge when we come to visit here. But maybe Jimmy Smith can give me an idea or two, or certainly Smitty can help me out with that. But no plans to go out and hang out at the clubs tonight as of right now.
No plans. Okay. So I had a good ride up here to the upstate. Always interesting, fighting the traffic coming out of Columbia and then up 385, 85. And, you know, guys, I had an opportunity today to meet one of Clemson's finest as I was into town. In fact, I was on the phone with Smitty when I met one of Clemson's finest. And he was very nice, and we had a brief conversation, and he let me go on my way. So I wasn't doing it wasn't a super speeder kind of thing, you know, like happens in Georgia. But the funny thing is, he gave me a warning. It was very nice. The funny thing is, he told me, you know, he found out I was going to Dabo Swinney or something in the news. He said, "You're the second news guy I've pulled over in the last hour." I'm not going to say who because I'll only embarrass myself. I won't embarrass them. But there was a news TV news person from Columbia who also got nailed going to Clemson this afternoon. So I think we both got warnings and a little pat on the head and told to slow down, which we did. It was legit. And but it was handled very nicely.
Speaking of not getting to places on time.
Who's that? You talking about me?
I said, well, if you were speeding, obviously, yeah, you and the news person were certainly running late.
Well, no, the news person was
leave early.
He was an hour ahead of me, so he obviously got here on time. I was on time until I got delayed there. So anyway, it's all good. Not the first time I've had an issue driving up to Clemson with the authorities, especially going through Pelzer and West Pelzer. Okay, hey, Pat, I'm seeing that they're starting a countdown on this stream. So it looks like they're going to hit the air in about 45 seconds or so, and we've got 5 minutes till the break. So we'll just kind of monitor it and see if they start to go to the announcement, and if so, we'll jump over there to it. If it happens during our break, so be it. That's just the way it goes. And still nothing yet from Landon Duckworth. You wonder maybe if they're caught up in an afternoon practice or something like that ran long. So you never know. You're dealing with teenagers, and like you said, Chris, the idea of time doesn't necessarily set with them real well. So, but we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. Anything else going on today of major interest? I guess we've got the Braves playing in Chicago this afternoon, don't we?
Got the Braves in action. Let's see. I've been so focused on trying to keep up with who's going where in college football. Major League Baseball has sort of taken a back seat, and I don't know why. But
well, here we go.
It does not appear to be up on the tip of anybody's tongue. They won 8-0 today over the Cubs.
The Braves get their 70th win.
And
Max Fried was back on the mound. Max Fried was back on the mound, and apparently he was very, very good today.
I'll take your word for it. Like I said, I didn't see any of their game today. I just know that they had a bigger.
Hey, Phil, I'm going to jump in here. Chris, I was typing it out in the Google, but if you're able to reconnect with this, I think we might be getting a bit of a weak signal up on the Grand Strand right now. So do us a favor and try to reconnect with us real quick there.
All right, way to jump in there. Yeah, it sounded like it was starting to wang on us there a little bit. So let's see what's happening over here with the Paler thing. Okay, looks like we finally have got some action here. And we got a couple of the talking heads talking. And we'll just kind of wait and see if this thing happens to get played out before. But typically the way 24/7 does it, they do a long lead up history. They give you their analysis, and then eventually they get around to letting the player make his announcement, which will probably come during the time we're away on a break. The thing with Paler is I don't know what to make of this thing, Pat. The things he told me earlier this week, having made his decision a few days after visiting South Carolina, makes you think South Carolina. The fact that it was believed he named South Carolina his favorite early on and maintained that for a good part of the recruiting process. Now, later on here, there are people who are pushing the narrative of NC State. But if he made his decision 4 days after visiting South Carolina, I don't know. I know two of the major networks are pointing towards NC State, and one had it split between South Carolina and NC State. So this is a good old-fashioned who's it going to be announcement, because nobody knows for sure going into this thing.
I'm right there with you, Phil. And we all noted a few days ago when Dylan Stewart made his commitment, Jonathan Paler, take this for what it's worth, but tweeted or commented underneath that he was looking at it, like did the little eye emoji, so you got to try to read the hieroglyphs there. But that seemed like a clue. Mm-hmm. The fact that he made his decision so soon after, starting the music here, after he was visiting Columbia, it really seemed like the stars were starting to align for the Gamecocks. But now, to your point, it seems like today the quote-unquote crystal ball is now going more towards Raleigh. But I kind of like this because none of us know. The secret has not gotten out. So kudos to those close to him for keeping that secret.
All right, Landon Duckworth has just texted me and said that he has pushed his announcement back to 9 o'clock Eastern time. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern now for Landon Duckworth, and we'll be back.
I'm Keith Peters reporting a cyber attack has affected computers at hospitals in multiple states, forcing some emergency rooms to close and ambulances to be diverted. The attack is disrupting facilities operated by Prospect Medical Holdings, which is based in California and has hospitals and clinics there and in Texas, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania. Emergency departments at Connecticut's Manchester and Rockville General Hospitals were closed and their patients diverted for much of Thursday. The College Board says schools in Florida should not offer its advanced placement course in psychology to students, citing guidance from state officials to exclude content on sexual orientation and so-called gender identity. The call to shelve the course marks the College Board's latest clash with the administration of Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. More details at srnnews.com.
Blue Star. Well, you know why August is one of the best months of the year? Because the hunt is finally on. Every August at Shooter's Choice, well, we celebrate. At Shooter's Choice, they have the hunting experts. They have store-wide discounts for the entire month to get you ready. Looking for the perfect rifle or shotgun, but just not sure? Well, the folks at Shooter's Choice are actually shooters and hunters. Let them help. Shooter's Choice has a huge selection of hunters' rifles that are in stock and are on sale. The newest and the nicest scopes to make sure you don't miss your trophy. Hey, look, a hunter's equipment really matters. Let the experienced staff over at Shooter's Choice help you in zeroing your rifle. If you take your hunting seriously, you know this is pretty critical. They'll save you time, they'll save you ammo. It's August, and yes, it is time. Hunting season in South Carolina. Online, it's shooterschoicesc.com, or better yet, come on over on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Make it your first choice. Make it your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten. And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy. Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep. We'll talk about everything that's happening in the State House and give you an insider's perspective, all from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM and 1470 a.m.
COVID impacted all of us. In the manufactured home industry, prices increased significantly. Manufacturers limited floor plans and cut options. At Lexington Discount Homes, we battled through it, and now things are much better. Homes are much more affordable, and we've got a huge selection. So if you're ready for a beautiful manufactured home, visit Lexington Discount Homes at 1847 Augusta Highway. We'll give you superior customer service from start until the day that you move in. Visit us online at lexingtondiscounthomes.com or give us a call at 951-1900.
Hi, this is Adam from Aladia's in Lexington. We're open and looking forward to your next visit. Come by and see us for dinner. Not only are we back, so are some of your favorite dishes like chicken marsala, red pepper gouda bisque, and Tuscany chicken. These and so many of your favorite Italian dishes prepared with our homemade family recipes. Come visit tonight for dinner in Lexington at 101 West Main Street. We're eager to help you create a memory at Aladia's. Thank you for all your loyal support.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto State. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network, and Jonathan Paylor has just made his announcement, and it is NC State. NC State gets the commitment from the wide receiver out of Burlington, North Carolina. So, big miss for the Gamecocks there. One that they were in control of for a good long while, or so it appeared. And now he ends up going to NC State. And, of course, let the allegations of NIL start flying now, because anytime you lose somebody, it's because they got paid. And you know he's getting paid. They're all getting paid. I had someone tell me today, remember when I mentioned earlier this week, I was told that every Clemson football player makes at least $40,000 from NIL.
Right.
I had somebody up here who, one of the reporters up here who covers Clemson, actually heard me say that and looked into it. And he came back and said, you know what, I confirmed what you said. And he's going to be doing a story on it here in the next week or so. We'll let you know when that comes out. So everybody's getting paid, and it just depends on who's paying you the most, and then if it's all equal, what you like more about one place than the other. So this probably a bit of a punch in the gut for Shane Beamer and Justin Stepp, Chris, I would say, because I think they had felt really, really good about this young man throughout most of the recruiting process.
I would think so, and adding another wide receiver, especially, I guess, moving into next year and moving on down the road when Spencer Rattler's gone, you'd like to have some quality targets for whomever is going to be the quarterback next season for them, and, yeah, missing out. But you look at it from his perspective, he picks the school that's basically in his backyard. I mean, I guess he could have gone to North Carolina too, but I always understand when these young men make a decision. And who's to say, and I hate to bring this up, but it's a fact of reality we live in, who's to say he won't be in a Gamecock uniform in 2 years?
Yeah. Who knows? With the ease of transferring right now and things happening with programs, you're exactly right. You miss on a guy now, but you don't want to burn bridges. You know, you keep the relationship. I mean, you don't tamper, but you keep the relationship cordial. And if something does happen, they might bounce back to you. So Jonathan Paylor goes to NC State. Landon Duckworth not going to announce now until 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight. And then tomorrow, Jalewis Solomon, safety, corner out of Georgia, will announce for South Carolina or Auburn at about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Talked with his coach this afternoon, and he said that he didn't know anything. The kid has been extremely tight-lipped. He doesn't know if it's going to be South Carolina or Auburn. He visited both last weekend. Says he's an excellent young man, an excellent football player, very talented, can play offense, can play defense. He had a lot to say about Shane Beamer and the job South Carolina has done recruiting him. So we'll see what happens on that one tomorrow. But South Carolina misses out on a major target in Jonathan Paylor this afternoon. Now, time to turn attention back to Clemson as Dabo Swinney met with the media this afternoon before the Tigers went out to practice football for the first time. We got a chance to watch a few periods, including the tempo period, where the offense goes out. And, of course, they're in helmets and shorts. Offense, defense, they go out and they snap it quick and they throw it or run it quick and get right back to the line and go on down the field and then rush the next unit on and do the same thing over and over again. Got a chance to watch a little bit of that. And, of course, you know, the Tigers, they They look good. They look good. They look in shape. They look ready to go. They look focused. Here's Dabo Swinney as he talked with the media this afternoon with an opening statement. Then he took some questions.
Hey, we're excited. There's no better day than this one right here. That's for sure. This is a day that, we look forward to every year. There is a ton that goes into getting to this point. I mean, a lot from January to this point, and then especially the last, probably 4 weeks from a staff standpoint. There's just a ton of preparation to get to this day, and then you finally get here. And it's just a ton of great energy in the building, a lot of excitement to just get started in the next phase of this year's journey as we start what we call prime time and get back on the field together as a group. So we're excited about it, looking forward to it, and glad you guys get a chance to put your eyes on these guys. We got a really, really good group. As I've said, y'all have heard me say a couple times, all the metrics in our program and indicators of success are, at an all-time high for us. Our guys have really done what they need to do, whether it be strength, speed, conditioning, our weights, our accountability, the leadership initiatives. All those things are great indicators of the type of team that you have, and I'm really proud of what this group has done to this point. So excited to get going.
You obviously signed a really talented freshman class. So how much out there today are your eyes kind of on those new guys and, trying to watch the entire team as a whole?
Well, on all of them, obviously we had 15 guys. I guess 16. Strecco came in with that group as well. So we had about 16 guys mid-year. So I certainly want to see where they are, as we, like I said, we go through transformation. They all got exposed in the spring to the way we do things, practice, installation, all those things. Now they get a chance to jump back in the summer at a different pace from a strength conditioning standpoint, a different pace of installation where they actually now can see themselves from the spring. And now you get a chance to bring in. So these guys, they look great. We got a lot of guys that have really made a lot of progress. So I want to see where that group is, from a really more mental standpoint than anything. It's easy to kind of see physically what they're doing, but I really want to see the results of the mental work that they've put in since January. And then obviously I want to see these new guys because this is my first time on the field with them in a competitive situation. So I'm excited to see these 12, 14 guys or so that came in here this summer.
What's your outlook for Sewell? Speaking of that group of mid-years.
Sewell? Yeah. Oh, he's going to help us. We saw that in the spring. He's one of those just, especially in the offensive line, you don't get many offensive linemen that show up and it's kind of all the dots are connected. What I mean is like mentally they can grasp it. And then physically they can do what they need to do. Some guys are physically ready, but mentally it takes them a little while. Some guys are mentally really, really sharp, but physically they're a little behind. And that's just kind of the life of an offensive line. It's probably the hardest position to play, especially early. And we've had some guys that's what makes it so amazing when you see a guy like Mitch Hyatt. You see a guy like Blake Miller, Tremaine Ankrum, Sean Pollard. When you see guys come in and play as a freshman at that position, it's just more rare than it is the norm. So Harris, he's definitely I don't think he's gone backwards since the last time I was on the field with him in the spring. So I'm excited, and I don't have any doubt he's going to compete and have a chance to help us.
You mentioned wanting to see the receivers step up. What does that look like from your point of view?
I think we got an incredibly deep and talented group. It's going to start with Bo. Bo is a great player. There's a reason why he could have gone wherever he wanted to go in the country, and he had a good freshman year. And then last year, unfortunately, battled through some injuries and things, and limited and got off to a great start. But he's still a young player. He's going to be a junior, and he's really, really developed. If he stays healthy, he's going to have an amazing year. He is a really, really good player and a great kid, a great leader. He's super, super talented. He's fast. He's strong. He's polished. He really understands all the nuances of the position, and he's passionate about it. So, like a lot of these, guys that if they're available, they're going to have a great year. And he's had a couple tough breaks for some injury standpoint, and so hopefully this is a year he stays healthy all year. And if he does, he's going to have a great year. I'm just going to start with Bo, and then Antonio, coming off a freshman All-American year. He's 195 pounds. He's locked in. I mean, he had an amazing freshman year, I think he's going to build on that. And then it's Cole and Adam, and then Speck. So that kind of those five, that's where it starts. If those five guys are available, we're going to score a bunch of points. So I'm excited about the group, and then we'll figure it out from there. Noble looks amazing. He's gotten his butt in shape from where he was in the spring. He's realized the type of endurance he's got to have. I think he was about 210 yesterday. He'd gotten up to kind of like 225, and he's in amazing shape. His conditioning is where it needs to be. That's part of what it's when you come in early, you kind of get exposed in some areas, and then what are you going to go do to get better? And he's super, super talented prospect who's just getting here. I mean, physically, he can do it. Mentally, I'm anxious to see if he's a guy that's made a step. And then it's Tyler Brown and Tink and my man Ronan, Stellato. Stelato's as talented a guy. We're not really counting on Stellato. He's a guy that if he's available, he'll be a player for us. But he to this point, he hasn't really been available, and he's a little limited as we're starting out here with his hamstring. So I don't know, but I do know this about Troy. If he can ever do what he needs to do to stay on the field, he'll help this football team because he's a super talented kid. But so we've got 10 guys, man, that I think are ready to go, and then we got 2 or 3 walk-on guys like a Hampton Earl and Hamp Green and some guys, man, Kaka, that can help this team. So we got a good group.
What do you want to see leadership-wise from Cade coming into his sophomore year, first time as the starting quarterback for a whole season? Do you feel like he's a natural for that part of the role?
Oh yeah, I mean it's what he's been doing a long time. Just be the same guy every day. That's what I want to see from a leadership standpoint. Just be the same guy every day, and that's what I've seen since really he got here. He's the guy that's never satisfied. He's always striving. You love that about him. He is a vocal leader. He's an encourager. He's a very positive guy, and love that about him. You guys have spent time with him. He just kind of oozes, enthusiasm, and I love that about him. So all I want to see out of him is just be the same guy every day, and then respond. Respond to something great, and respond to something bad. You're going to have both, and that's really what we need from him.
Your offense, is this something that's being implemented right now, or is it all in place and you guys are ready to work out the kinks?
No, I mean, this is our third round of installation or implementation, if you want that word. This is our third round. So we installed a lot in the spring, kind of went at the pace of the guys and got a lot done. Obviously, we had some guys that weren't available, though. And then, there's always a process in place with these guys in the summer through their skills and drills and meetings and so forth. So, they get it at a different pace, but hopefully it sinks in a little bit more. And then, so this will be kind of the third round. Now we'll certainly expand, and you really kind of build for the season during camp. So this is the most amount of practice that we get at any given time. We don't have a 20-hour rule. You're not limited on your meetings, things like that. So we have to get a lot done. And so you try to build a really good foundation in the spring and summer, and then you kind of put it all together in fall camp. Because once you get into these game weeks, you've got to be able to, have your base and then be able to build on it week in and week out from a game plan standpoint. But yeah, no, we're in a good place. We're certainly not starting from scratch. Now, obviously, we got some guys that just got here, but they've been here a few weeks and they've had a chance to get a little bit of it. But the majority of our team was here since January. So I think installation-wise, we're in a good place.
Is there something that needs to happen during fall camp for this offense to come together and be ready for game 1 and game 2, or is it inevitable to still be working out kinks when games start?
Well, what needs to happen is we need to show up with great focus and commitment every day, and we need to learn and grow from, the success and the mistakes of the day before, and just kind of build throughout camp. That's part of it. And obviously, we need a little luck, as well to stay healthy in a couple spots for sure. But regardless, I mean, we got 31 days until we play. And regardless of how much we practice or whatever, we don't get to play football until Labor Day night. You saw a game last night. I think I didn't get to see it, but I think there was a game on last night. You'll see probably a game this weekend. There's a reason why the pros, play preseason games for that reason right there, because they haven't played football. I mean, it's a long time to go. I don't care how much you practice. There's no simulation of playing the game. And even when you get 2 scrimmages, that's all we get, you're still going against each other. There's a lot of familiarity, things like that. So when you play an opener, to me, the opener is always the hardest game to prepare for, because it's the most amount of time, that you've been off. You really don't know who they are. There's always new coaches. There's always new players. You're looking at tape from all kind of places that isn't necessarily the personnel that you're going to play against. And then there's new personnel, so you're watching them at other places. And then there's the unknown, because you don't have any. Once you get into the season, you just kind of see 2 or 3 games. You get to see a little bit of identity, and you get a little bit of a feel personnel wise, et cetera. Openers, you don't get that. And then you're playing a really, really good team in Duke, who's got a ton of confidence and a ton of guys back. There's always challenges, because, again, when you get in a game week, you only got so much time. You got about 17 hours throughout the week to get ready with your team, because you get 20 hours and 3 of those hours is game day. But right now you've got months. We've been working on our, first few opponents since the spring. And guess what? They've been doing that for us too. So there's always kinks. There's always things. It never is perfect opener. The key is just find a way to win the opener. All right. And then you go from there.
Okay, Dabo Swinney from his meeting with the media before the Tigers went out for practice. All of it is up on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Feel free to check it out. It was about 40 minutes worth of Dabo today, about par for the course for Dabo Swinney and a press conference. Lovely, lovely facility they have built inside the practice arena for the media, and where they do their press conferences now. Very comfortable, very work-friendly, terrific environment. So they've done something good there at Clemson as far as dealing with the media, and we certainly appreciate that. And there'll be some players talking after practice. We'll get that up later on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, where if you go there, you'll see some video of South Carolina from their practice today. South Carolina does allow you to take video. If you're not a television station, you can take video. There's some video and some pictures up there from the practice today at South Carolina. Ryan Bethea, the Big Spur, shooting the practice and sharing some pictures with us. So you can take a look at that over there at South Carolina. We'll try and hear from Trey Knox, the Gamecocks tight end, here in just a little bit. In the meantime, I think we can take some phone calls. The phone number, 888-898-2525. And, oh, by the way, it is now an official thing that the Pac-12 now is a shell of itself. It's been left now with 4 schools, and the word has come out. I guess you call it the official word has come out, or being reported by Jeff Borzella. Well, there is a release. The Big Ten Council of Presidents, Chancellors voted today to admit Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten effective August 2nd, 2024, with competition to begin in all sports for the 24-25 academic year. With the schools' admission, Oregon and Washington will also join the Big Ten Academic Alliance, for whatever that's worth to people anymore. You wonder if they're going to get the same cut as everybody else. Do you give the newbies the same cut as what the other people are getting. In the meantime, we've got everybody else in the Pac-12 that's left standing moving to the Big 12. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah. Looks like that's all coming down here later on this afternoon or tonight. So I wonder what Bill Walton is feeling right now.
I can't begin to get into his mind normally, much less with all this movement in his beloved Pac-12. I guess they won't be able to brag on themselves as the Conference of Champions any longer because pretty much all their champions have exited the building. I'm really fascinated too, Phil, as to how in the world you're going to be able to schedule all of these teams and the movement away from divisions like we've seen in the ACC this year, the SEC next year. I mean, when you start getting bloated to the point you've got 18 schools, perhaps 20 schools, do you go away from the split divisions, one versus the other, and maybe start sort of litigating the going into the sort of smaller pods like the NFL is, where you get 4-team divisions and then work it where you come up with some sort of semifinal and then conference championship where you have 2 playoff games in your own conference before you begin to worry about getting into the big time conference. The big time playoff in the national playoff.
Yeah. Man, I can't begin to even think about what kind of plan they're going to come up with. But who's left in the Pac-12 now? You've got Cal, you've got Stanford, you've got Oregon State, and you've got Washington State left, right?
That's right.
I think that's it. Those are the 4 left standing in the Pac-12. So where do they go from here? That's going to be interesting to see.
Phil, real quick
ahead,
before we go to the caller, if I may. Two things that really stand out to me with this. Utah, they're the 2-time defending Pac-12 champion in football, so you have them leaving. And then Stanford, this whole realignment just goes to prove how much this is about money and how little it is about winning, as well as how much this is about football being the bell cow here. Stanford is the all-time winning collegiate athletic program in terms of national championships, but I think we all can agree a vast majority of those are in sports like Olympic sports that maybe aren't bringing as much money to the table as a football, a basketball, and a baseball, although they're very good at baseball and have a long history of success in football and basketball. They may not have those national championships, but they also each year rank number 1 or number 2, it seems like every year in the Capital One Cup. I know they've won that multiple times on the men's side, and on the women's side, they've won it nearly every year it's been in existence. So for them to now be sitting there not getting an invitation, they seem to be the person not getting invited to the dance right now. That is really surprising to me, and can't help but wonder if they'll get picked up by one of these conferences or if maybe they'll kind of become like a new Notre Dame or what BYU used to be and become an independent.
Stanford. You know, if the Big Ten was so concerned about its academic consortium, as they put in their release, why wouldn't you bring Stanford in? I mean, they trump everybody else in that league. Let's go to Hank in Columbia for the top of the hour break. Hank, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Corn. I was just calling. I get it that Dabble talks about it's about the 85, but I don't buy so much into the proselytizing, because if money wasn't even a part of it, back when Carolina fell obviously behind Clemson was building that West End zone and they were building their indoor arena and everything else. And then Spurrier had to bump the Carolina people to bump up the money to start meeting the facilities just to keep up with Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And so this new stuff and money, if Dabble had just won 2 national championships, like if he had just won it, like let's say in 21 and 23, then I could hear all this prophetic saying. But I mean, lately, it's been about 5 or 6 years, and it's been a couple of years since they've been back in the playoffs. And they're recruiting well, but they're not recruiting like they were recruiting back in that 16 through 18 category. As far as the teams, Georgia's going to spend money. And you can say they're with Alabama, but Georgia's going to spend money. LSU's going to spend money. So I think the fact that he said we'll be wherever we are, there's still some money in the back of their mind that they can't get so far away to not be able to compete and recruit.
Yeah, you're right. But look, if money was everything, and I know it's a lot of it. I mean, you want to have the best facilities, but as Chris pointed out earlier, look at the money Florida State has spent on their facilities, and they've done nothing but go downhill since they won a national championship. Now, maybe they're on an uptick here after all these years. Look at Texas. What's Texas done over the last, 10, 15 years since they won a national championship? No shortage of money there. Look at Texas A&M. So, I mean, you want the money, I get it, but it doesn't guarantee you anything.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. 2 Navy sailors have been arrested on charges related to national security and ties to China. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada says one of the 2 sailors charged, 26-year-old Wang Heng Zhao, allegedly took bribes from Chinese intelligence and handed over sensitive naval exercise plans, photos, and videos.
Prosecutors in my office unsealed an indictment charging Wang Heng Zhao, a petty officer in the United States Navy, with transmitting sensitive U.S. military information to an intelligence officer with the People's Republic of China, and doing so in exchange for money.
That audio courtesy KGTV San Diego. The other 22-year-old sailor Jin Chao Wei was arrested on a charge related to espionage involving conspiracy to send national defense information to Chinese officials. The indictment says Wei made contact with a Chinese government intelligence officer in February 2022 and provided photographs and videos of U.S. Navy ships. Both sailors pleaded not guilty. Economic concerns could cost President Biden votes in the 2024 election. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
Many Americans who voted for President Biden in 2020 say they believe the economy has fared poorly under his stewardship, and they might not vote for him next November. That's according to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, which shows 19% of Joe Biden's 2020 voters aren't sure how they would vote in the next presidential election. 42% of Biden supporters said the economy was worse now than it was in 2020. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A cyber attack has affected computers at hospitals in multiple states, forcing some emergency rooms to close and ambulances to be diverted. The attack is disrupting facilities operated by Prospect Medical Holdings. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 150 points. More at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. My name is Jason Hansen. I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Experts say food commodities prices are climbing, and a lot of the cause for the increase can be traced to the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
Global prices for some key food commodities have risen for the first time in months after Russia ended a deal allowing Ukraine to ship grain and India restricted some rice exports. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization's index of food prices increased 1.3% in July over June. The increase, the first uptick since April, when higher sugar prices bumped up the reading slightly, is driven in particular by higher costs for rice and vegetable oil. Commodity prices have been falling in general, but the trade restrictions and the grain deal's demise threaten to increase global food insecurity. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we are back with you on Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. And it's Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. I'm up at Clemson, and Bergie's at the Bergie Palace over in Sardis, and Pat is back at our studios in Columbia. In just a moment, Jeff Owens will join us. We chat about the NASCAR scene as they go racing at Michigan this weekend. The USC men's basketball team is playing, I think, as we speak, in the Bahamas. Looking at the Gamecock men's Twitter, last thing they tweeted was about 36 minutes ago. We see Zachary Davis hitting a jump shot, and you can see the scoreboard at that point had the Gamecocks up 14-4. So that was in obviously the first half. That's the last thing we've seen from there. So if we see anything else, we'll pass that along to you. But apparently at one point, the Gamecocks had a 10-point lead in the first half. If you're just joining us, heard from Dabo Swinney up here at Clemson. The Tigers opening up their preseason camp. USC missed on wide receiver Jonathan Paylor when he committed to NC State about a half hour ago. And Landon Duckworth, the 2016 quarterback, who's announcing a commitment, has pushed his announcement back to 9 o'clock tonight. So stand by and wait for that. And you're up to date on things there. And now, as we do on Sports Talk on Friday night, heading into a NASCAR weekend, let's catch up on the NASCAR scene here on Sports Talk with Jeff Owens in the Fast Lane.
Love it when it's four wide, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders talk, the pack is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting, love it when they slide, love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. NASCAR racing,
Racing, boys. Oh, yeah. On the fast track at Michigan, where everybody has their headquarters, or used to at one time or another. We welcome in Jeff Owens in the Fast Lane. Not so sure how fast Jeff is moving tonight, because he's telling me prior to this that he's at the movies, and you're seeing Barbie. You're going to see Barbie tonight?
I'm hoping that G.I. Joe is going to make an appearance. So we'll see.
Hear you.
Yes, I got
hear
roped
you.
into it. So we'll see.
All right, let me ask you this question, and Chris, you can chime in as well. Where does the NASCAR official sit in the press box, Jeff, the one that pushes the red button when a race is almost over before it's over, and they need somebody well back in the pack to spin out to bring a caution to tighten it up so we can have an exciting finish? Where does that guy sit?
He's usually sitting right at the start-finish line, somewhere in a suite or a booth, and got it, like you said, got his finger on the button ready to push it.
Well, I tell you, watching the race this past weekend, I mean, it was going to be a blowout, and then you had the late caution flag. But to his credit, Chris Buescher held it together, got a really good restart, and did not give up the lead, and went and got his first win of the year.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he took advantage of a great opportunity. And these days, that's what you got to do. As competitive as it is, and with all these different winners, and you got to win to get in the playoffs. If you get that lead late in the race, you got to figure out the way to hang on. And I think the car, they've had trouble all year long on the short tracks. If you get out front, it's very hard to pass, and you're going to get away. So he took advantage of that. He got out front, and he was able to pull away and get the win and take advantage of that last restart. So great win for him. That guaranteed him a playoff spot. So that was a clutch performance.
12 of the 16 right now in on wins, 4 races to go. So it's tightening up, and you got Harvick, Keselowski, Wallace, and McDowell in the last 4 spots without a win. So, I mean, they feel like they've probably got to win one, and because they have to be worried that somebody behind them is going to win one and move ahead of them, like a Chase Elliott or like a Alex Bowman, couple of guys who could win a race here or there before we hit the playoffs.
Yeah, and with these 2 road courses coming up, that's the real wild card, because you're right. I mean, you could have A.J. Allmendinger win one of those races. We know Chase Elliott could win. McDowell's good there. Alex Bowman could win. There's a lot that can happen on a road course, and there's several of those guys that are outside the cutoff right now that could certainly win one of those races and shake up point standings. So if you're Harvick and Keselowski, Bubba Wallace is right there. Some of those guys, you're looking for a win right now, just like Chris Buescher did last week. He was on the bubble or close to it as well, and he guaranteed him a spot with a victory. So, you'll see guys like Harvick and Bubba Wallace and Keselowski, I think, be competitive this weekend and probably take some chances to try to get that win.
Jeff Owens with us here tonight on Sports Talk. We go inside the fast lane NASCAR up in Michigan as we get ever closer to the start of the NASCAR playoffs, a month out, and they'll be here in Darlington for the Cookout Southern 500. Jeff, sticking with Chase Elliott, which I think is where we're going if we're going to start talking about road course racing and his chance to get into the playoffs. Talked to a buddy of mine who's a big NASCAR fan, big Hendrick Motorsports fan, as a matter of fact, and he brought up an idea I wanted to pose to you. Let's assume for a moment that neither he nor Alex Bowman get into the playoffs. If you're Rick Hendrick, do you swap pit crews, change crew chiefs, move Alan Gustafson away from Chase Elliott just to try something for the final 10 races of the year to see if maybe something can click going into 2024?
I think they could swap pit crews. I could see that to help the guys who are in the playoffs. I would be shocked if they swap crew chiefs. Now Bowman, perhaps, because you look at him, and he's not really run that well this year. I mean, I know he's back because they had a penalty early in the year. They haven't run that well and haven't really been up front, so I could see maybe making a swap there. I don't think you do it with Chase Elliott. I mean, this is a former champion. He's out of the playoffs right now anyway because of unusual circumstances, because of an injury. And then on top of that, he got a suspension. So I think there's a mitigating circumstances right there. I don't think you mess with that team because that team could come back next year and win the championship. Bowman, a little bit different story. He's struggling to get there. Maybe experiment with that. I could definitely see him swapping pit crews, though, if they think it'll help Kyle Larson and William Byron.
Speaking of perfect combinations, we found out earlier in the week that both Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, his crew chief, will be going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And I was telling Phil when the announcement came out that Halls of Fame don't lose credibility because of who they have in or who they have left out. They lose credibility when you do stupid stuff like not voting Jimmy Johnson a unanimous selection into the Hall of Fame. Jeff, I went back and Richard Petty wasn't a unanimous selection. Neither was Dale Earnhardt Sr. How is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have on these voting committees. You see it in baseball, too, all the time. Somebody's got a grudge or somebody doesn't like the process. Or I think in this case, what happened, they felt like Jimmy shouldn't be on the ballot right now because he's technically still racing. And what you have with the NASCAR Hall of Fame a lot, you got a very diverse voting panel, and a lot of the guys are former competitors or track promoters or somebody like that. So a lot of times what happens is they will skip over guys who should go in right now to put in older guys that keep getting passed over. I mean, they don't have like a veterans committee like baseball does. So I think that's how Donnie Allison got in. And I think that's probably somewhat what the guys who didn't vote for Jimmy Johnson were thinking it. But you're right. It's embarrassing. It's a black mark for the voting committee, I think. But it happens since the beginning. Like I said, Richard, nobody in the history of NASCAR Hall of Fame has ever been unanimous. And that in itself is ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah. A couple more moments here with Jeff Owens in the fast lane. And what about Michigan coming up this weekend? Going to be, I guess, hot. It's going to be fast. Going to be pretty slick. What are the keys to Michigan this weekend?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I think it's managing your tires for one thing, keeping the tires under you, not wearing them out, and getting your car to where it'll work all over the racetrack, high, low. This is a wide track. You'll see 3 wide. You'll see 4 wide. But you're going to have your car working both ways so you can pass high or low or whatever you need to do. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Like we said earlier, you got some guys who need a win. And Harvick, boy, you got to look at him. He's won 4 of the last 5 races there and 5 out of 7. So this could be a race to watch for him to see if he can race his way into the playoffs.
Okay, Jeff, we'll let you get back to the second half of Barbie there, and you enjoy. Get yourself a big popcorn and an extra large Coke, and sit back and enjoy.
It's going to take it to get through this, I believe. All right, guys.
All right, my man. Thank you. Talk
Jeff.
to you next week. All right, Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us here on Sports Talk. Let's do the recruiting report. And then we'll bring you a little Trey Knox from the Gamecocks, our recruiting report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. And if you didn't get out for the roast beef Friday today, I know you missed something special. Roast beef and chicken and flounder. Pat, did you make it back out? I know you went earlier in the week and you dove into some gravy. What about today?
I was not able to make it today. I was there earlier in the week, so I did get my Seawells fix for the week. But now I believe my dad and brother are starting to do this when they know I'm not able to go. It has become their new Friday tradition to go to Seawells without me. So I appreciate it.
That's sad. That's sad to see a family break up like that. Well, make plans to get back out there next week, every day, 11 till 2, for the daily luncheon buffet. And the very best in the recruiting, in the catering business. If they were in recruiting, they'd be the very best. Very best in the catering business. That is Seawells. Their phone number, 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Before I do recruiting, let me correct myself. Chris was telling me off air that the South Carolina basketball game is over. I was reading some highlight tweets after the final score had already been posted. I did not scroll down far enough on the Gamecocks Twitter or X page, whatever you call it, to find the score. The Gamecocks beat a team from Lithuania 86-59 today. Don't have any stats available yet, but they win it 86-59. Now, recruiting-wise, Jonathan Paylor, wide receiver, committed to NC State over the Gamecocks. 9 o'clock tonight. 2026 quarterback Landon Duckworth of Jackson, Alabama, will announce his commitment decision. USC was his visit last Friday, and he also has TCU and Vanderbilt and UCF on his short list. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, cornerback safety Jalewis Solomon will reveal his college decision between South Carolina and Auburn. 24/7 Sports and On3 Sports have him going to the Gamecocks, and Rivals picks him to go to Auburn. USC's in the Final 5 with 2024 defensive end Booker Pickett of Tampa. The others are Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, and Florida State. And women's basketball, USC target, 2024, 6'4", Kennedy Yumi of Philadelphia will announce her college commitment on Monday at 1 o'clock. And now the transfer portal, John, update for you tonight, and that is brought to you by Dumpster Plus. Dumpster Plus provides a roll-off dumpster and a porta-john in one, locally owned out of Columbia. 803-500-5094, the number for this gem of a piece of equipment, the Dumpster Plus. And one note, USC first baseman Jacob Compton is transferring again. He came to USC from Memphis. He missed all of this past season with an injury, and now he'll be on the move again through the transfer portal, John. That's recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. After the break,
we're going to whole Pac-12. Teams now jump into the portal, John? I mean,
I'm sure they can.
Pac-12 is in the portal, John.
I think you're exactly right. Actually, more than half, right? If you had 12 and you got 4 left, that would be
lost. 8.
That's 8 of them. Yeah, that would be what? 2/3, 3/4.
Yep.
3/4. Yeah, I guess you break it up into fours.
Y'all aren't very good. 2/3. 8 of 12.
I said 2/3. I said 2/3 at first, and then Chris said 3/4. I knew I was right.
I was going to try to let y'all figure that out on your own. And 6 have now departed in the last 24, 48 hours. With, of course, Southern Cal and UCLA previously acknowledging. But, yeah, they are down to now 1/3 of the conference remaining.
Thank you, Pat. Don't challenge my math skills. Yeah. All right, let's go to the break. I want to get to Trey Knox, the USC tight end who transferred in from Arkansas. I think you'll enjoy hearing what he has to say and the way he says it. You can tell he's a mature guy. He's been through the wars. And he'll bring that maturity and that experience to South Carolina. What a loaded group they have when you put the tight ends and the wide receivers together. And he's just one of those guys that could be a standout, and we'll be back.
We've got rates worth bragging about. For a limited time, Founders Federal Credit Union is offering our 12-month certificate at 5.04% annual percentage yield, or APY. And our 12-month IRA certificate is at 5.3% APY. Don't miss this opportunity. A $500 deposit is all it takes to make these great rates work for you. Rates accurate as of June 1st, 2023. Stop by any Founders location to open your IRA or certificate today. Or use Founders Online to open a certificate from wherever you are. To learn more, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend-rates. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Membership qualification required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Major Downer here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is just around the corner. To make sure that your boat is ready, check your registration sticker and ensure it's current. Find your registration card, make sure your life jackets are in good shape, and check your fire extinguisher as well. For more information on boating or boat titling questions, visit dnr.sc.gov/boating.
Summer weather has arrived in South Carolina, and you know what that means. Sweet, tasty South Carolina peaches are hitting shelves near you. Most people tend to think of Georgia as the peach state, but South Carolina is the East Coast's top producing peach state, so we know a thing or two about a great tasting peach. The next time you're in the grocery store or local farmer's market, keep an eye out for those sweet, tasty, certified SC peaches. Discover more about the tastier peach state at scpeach.org.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Hi, folks. This is Mike Morgan. I want to tell you about an exciting new product from my friends at Vision Air Solutions. Staying healthy in my line of work is so critical, and probably in yours as well. A large factor in all that is making sure we're breathing in healthy and safe air every day. That's where Vision Air Solutions comes in. They make sure your home has air purification for all the air pollution you can't see. Viruses, mold, bacteria, stale odors, cooking smells, and volatile organic compounds. They make sure your home home is full of clean air and also offer HVAC duct cleaning and sanitation as well. Make sure you and your family are breathing clean air today by giving Vision Air Solutions a call today. 803-220-1811. That's 803-220-1811. Tell them Mike sent you.
Okay, we're back on Sports Talk. Yesterday was Media Day over in South Carolina. Got a chance to talk to Shane Beamer or listen to him and hear from all the players as well. Anybody you wanted to talk to, you could go up to and talk to and do an interview. One was Trey Knox, the transfer tight end from Arkansas, and we had a chance to catch up with him about the move to South Carolina and what he hopes to bring to the offense. Also, of course, getting a chance to play with Spencer Rattler, what that means to him.
I just want to be that security blanket for Seven. He's a great dude, man, and he gets this conception about him that he's not a good person. I mean, he's one of the best people I've ever met. Really down to earth, man, and he wants to just be good, man. And I respect him so much. He grinds his butt off, comes to practice, to workouts every day to get better, and he wants to be coach hard. And you gotta love dudes that come in and bring that business mindset. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we want to play football at the next level. And so we have to go about it in a certain way to do that. And he's embraced it, and he's embraced this offense, and I think he's very confident, and he's poised to have a big season.
Coach Loggins said last week when we were at the golf outing that he has really been hard on you. Can you talk about that? That he said that he thinks you've got unlimited potential, but he coached you as a position coach last year as now your offensive coordinator. But talk about that relationship.
Oh, I mean, I love him to death, man. I'd do anything for him, and I think that the feeling's mutual. And I love being coached hard, and he knows how to get under my skin and make me play better. I mean, his saying is he'll do anything for a good practice. So he knows how to push the right buttons, knows how to get me to play better, and gets me to play hard. And I respect it, man. I mean, he coached in the NFL for 17 years, and I mean, he has a lot of knowledge, man. He's been a lot of places and seen a lot of good football players. So for him to say that to me just means the world. And I just want to go show the world that he's right.
You caught passes from KJ Jefferson, and now you're catching passes from Spencer Rattler. How would you compare and contrast the two as far as being on the receiving end of their passes?
Well, I'm very fortunate to be blessed to play with two great QBs. So, but KJ is just a load, man. He's huge, and his legs, I mean, he's dangerous. And I think Spencer's more of a throw first guy, but they're both great talents. I mean, no denying their ability to play football, and I'm just fortunate that I could play with both of them and make both of them better.
When y'all played the Gamecocks last year in Fayetteville, you could have buried them, but they just kind of wouldn't go away. They made the final score respectable. I know you're caught up in the game itself, but now that you're a Gamecock, when you go back and think about playing against these guys last year, what kind of caught your eye about the program?
I mean, you just said it, the never die attitude. I mean, they didn't start off too hot last season and turn around and beat two top 25 teams back-to-back weeks. I mean, that's not easy to do. And just that attitude of, hey, we're not going to quit and we're going to do the best we can and make plays. And that's what, I gravitated to. I mean, Coach Beamer has built a great culture here, and I just want to carry on the legacy.
We've heard from a lot of people about your personality, about kind of how eccentric you are. What some people don't know about you?
All right, that's fine. I'm a very goofy guy. I mean, there's a fine line between work and play. We know this, but I do love to have fun. I know the lyrics to about every song I've ever heard in my life, which is pretty annoying for a lot of other people, but I sing constantly or rap or whatever. But I just want to bring, a freshness to the team and a great personality and a guy that is going to work hard but also make the game or playing the game fun. And that's what I want to do. And I want to be, a good voice for the younger guys to show them, like, hey, man, you don't have to be uptight all the time. Like, football's fun, but at the same time, this is a game we grew up loving, and you got to find that joy in playing the sport.
Okay, comments of Trey Knox of USC. You can tell the maturity and what a good speaker he is. Let's go to Jeff in
he's a college
Honeypath.
kid? Wow.
Yeah. Let's go to Jeff in Honeypath as we get short on time. Jeff, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. It just means more, Phil. How you doing?
Doing fine, sir.
Hey, I heard a caller yesterday toward the end of the show, and he was talking about Clemson and Florida State couldn't handle the week in, week out of the SEC. And I agree with that. I think that'd be just a wrong decision to make because, like, if you look at Florida State, so they played LSU in Florida, so throw them games out. But if they had to follow that up with, like, Missouri and Vanderbilt and Kentucky and Arkansas and Mississippi State, I just don't think they can handle it, Phil. I don't know. And I was just calling to get your take on that. I mean,
listen, Arkansas. I don't know about throw Arkansas in a group that you can walk over. The others, Mississippi State's got a great quarterback.
And Texas A&M. I mean, you throw A&M in there.
I think what you have to be concerned about, and thank you, I get the tongue in cheek. It's just the money that all these schools have. You mentioned a Texas A&M to be able to spend and possibly, if they're having an off year, turn it around very quickly and have a big year. Hey, thanks for the phone call. Be right back.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. One of the cool things about working at the Melting Pot is we don't have to push our servers to sell dessert. We don't even have to push them to suggest dessert. You all know it's coming, a big bowl of melted chocolate with all the dippers that you could dream of. How about a flaming turtle, creamy flavor of milk chocolate is melted with caramel flambéed and topped with candied pecans? Or a Bananas Foster white chocolate fondue melted with bananas and dulce de leche, then flambéed. The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a crowd of thousands of people who gathered in New York City's Union Square for a popular live streamer's hyped giveaway got out of hand, leading to injuries and arrests. Aerial TV news footage Friday showed a surging, tightly packed crowd climbing on vehicles, hurling chairs, throwing punches, and sealing structures in the park. Shouting teenagers swung objects at car windows and ran through the streets. Traffic was snarled. Police officers could be seen trying to control the gathering with success by about 6 p.m. A Russian court has convicted imprisoned opposition leader Alexei Navalny of extremism charges and sentenced him to 19 years in prison. Navalny is already serving a 9-year term on a variety of charges that he says were politically motivated. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 150 points. This is SRN News.
Tell me the pipes burst, you're getting the repairs done. Now it's time for your flooring. This is where the flooring department shines. We don't have a huge multi-million-dollar showroom, but we all buy from the same manufacturers. So why pay more? We're locally owned and have 30 years experience in the flooring industry, and we stand by our work. Get tremendous customer service and great pricing with the flooring department. 951-3567 or online at theflooringdepartment.com. That's 951-3567 or 951-FLOR. The flooring department.
Why just talk about something? Why not just do it? I went online to DominionEnergy.com/SC. Signed up on the Save Energy tab to have these folks come on out, haul away my old refrigerator for free. Oh, and by the way, they paid me $50 to do this. It was easy. They showed up on time, threw the old fridge on a cart, they hauled it away. I didn't have to do a thing except sit and wait for my check. A couple weeks later, I got my check, made space getting rid of an old appliance I wasn't even using. It's that simple. Go to DominionEnergy.com/SC. Sign up today.
Hey, honey, I know you're taking some meds for cholesterol. I was reading that if you're on these medicines, you should also be taking some CoQ10.
Actually, our pharmacist mentioned that to me already. He called me the other day, and we went through each of our medications together.
Really? He called you?
Yeah, he asked if I was having any side effects, recommended supplements that could help me, and let me know the risk of mixing certain drugs.
Wow. I'm happy to know that True Pharmacy is thinking about us.
True Pharmacy, 1628 Charleston Highway, 3217 Divine Street, or visit truerxsc.com.
It's the Cigar Militia, Columbia's premium cigar store. It's that time of year. It's golf weather. Are you going golfing this weekend? Be the guy bringing the sticks, not the guy that borrows. Come by and refill your humidor or just pull off the interstate for a smoke and a cold beverage. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help you. You can be a novice or a seasoned veteran. Our friendly staff will walk you through the humidor and answer your questions. We're at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard, next to the Melting Pot.
Hey, Kev here. One thing that's truly unique about The Point is you. We call our listeners the Point family. You've stayed so loyal. You've stayed so supportive. Thank you for that. We call The Point Columbia's local talk radio experience. We're community driven. We push hard for our advertising partners because they're mom and pop businesses, small business owners. People ask me all the time, how can we help you with The Point, Kev? Well, it's pretty simple. Support those who support us. If you hear an advertising partner here on The Point, use them. Support them. Brag to them that you're there because you trust The Point. If you're a local small business owner, I'd love to have you as part of our lineup. Give me a call. Tell me your story. I'll create a customized advertising package that fits your budget and your needs. Nothing corporate, nothing cookie cutter. Look, if you haven't tried radio, it does work, especially here at The Point. Give us an opportunity to share you with our Point family. Call me. 563-8558. That's 563-8558. Or email me directly, kev@makethepointradio.com. I sure hope we could partner up. Join the Point family.
Straight down the middle, it went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle, like they say. Whack down the fairway, it went smack down the fairway. Then it started to slice just a smidge off line. It headed for 2, but it bounced off 9. My caddy says, long as you're still in the state, you're okay.
I never heard that line in the song. As long as you're still in the state, you're okay. Well, that covers me on most of my drives. Time for birdies and bogeys and biceps around the state of South Carolina, brought to you by Tsunami Bar Sports here in Columbia. In fact, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I saw Joey Batson, of course, on the sideline here at Clemson for practice, and it's in his weight room there where the Tsunami Bar was created. George will talk about that in just a second. As we welcome in George, I believe he is up at the tournament. I think this is the final tournament of the regular season on the PGA Tour, the Wyndham Championship up in Greensboro at the Sedgefield Country Club. And your leader remains Russell Henley, the Georgia grad. One time lived in South Carolina over at Daniel Island, but since he moved across the border, we don't claim him anymore. He's 12 under, 62-66. That's good playing. Billy Horschel, a 62 today, 11 under. Adam Svensson at 10 under. Lucas Glover, the timeless one, the timeless Tiger, a 64 for Lucas Glover. He's at 10 under par and tied for third, along with Byung Hun An, who's at 10 under par, and Brendan Todd. Some others for you. Andrew Novak, 6 under after a 70. Justin Thomas finally gets it together. A 65 for him today. He's at 5 under. Carson Young, a 64. He's at 4 under. Matt Kuchar, a 67, is at 4 under. Wesley Bryan, a fine round of 66, puts him at 2 under. Matt Neesmith, a 69, is at 2 under. Doc Redmond, even after a 68 today. Tommy Gainey, a 72, is +1. Ben Martin, a 72, +2. And Jonathan Bird, a 71, a pair of 71s, puts him at +2 for the tournament. Looks like that cut is going to fall at -2. And that means, as we welcome in George Bryan III, that means that the Wesley Bryan family, George, can go buy some groceries next week.
That's exactly what it means, and it's a wonderful thing to play weekend. Wesley got to rolling so hot that he decided not to work weekends for a while, and he missed a number of cuts. But he looks really good, and he's got to work this weekend. but the work is really play. And I tell you, Sedgefield Country Club is a fabulous golf course. And people here in Greensboro, starting with my host family, Carol and Russ Simpson, it's just, to me, it's a lot like where we are in Columbia, South Carolina. People are kind and sweet and very hospitable. The food is awesome, completely awesome. And speaking of food, I had lunch with Jonathan Bird and Ben Martin today. And Jonathan Bird's son, Jackson, recently qualified for the U.S. Amateur, and he's a rising junior in high school. And Jonathan, we talked about Lucas Glover, and my goodness, you're right. I think you used the term ageless or timeless, or Lucas Glover looks to me just like he did when he was 26 years old and 36. Now I think he's past that, and his game is spectacular. But Jackson Bird is getting ready to be a junior in high school, and he was in a playoff. And you know Tech no better than I for a junior Ryder Cup position. He was an event in Arkansas, and he could be representing USA and the PGA Junior Ryder Cup version in September, just about the same time as the Ryder Cup. And so Jonathan was watching the progress of that event, and when he left, I think Jackson was heading towards a playoff for that Ryder Cup spot. And he also Jackson. We have the U.S. Junior failed to speak a lot about it right here in South Carolina. All my fault, except full responsibility. Snap hooked that one right into the bushes. But Daniel Allen hosted the U.S. Junior a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we spoke almost none about it. In fact, during this segment, I know I'll take full credit for a complete whiff. That's a whiff.
Well, these things happen. We will not miss the South Carolina Amateur, the 92nd South Carolina Amateur at Musgrove Mill. That is going on, and we're into round 2 today. Play is continuing, George, at the beautiful Musgrove Mill Golf Club. Rafe Reynolds from Greenville, a pair of 68s, puts him at 8 under par. Chandler Mulkey from Johns Island, a 63, followed by a 75. He's at 6 under. Todd White, you talk about ageless wonders. Todd White, man, was he not once, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm hoping I'm not confusing names, but was he not once the quarterback at like Spartanburg High School and at Furman or something? A football player?
I don't think he quite got to the college level of being the quarterback, but talking about a great athlete and a golf enthusiast. And I think Todd he's nearing that 50-year mark. If he hadn't reached it, he's pretty close. He could be a little bit past it. And that kind of golf course, Musgrove Mill, is right up his alley. He's only 3 shots back. And actually, I just noticed.
No, 2. He's up to
back now.
2 back, yeah.
Two
68 round 1. He's on the course. He's at 6 under. Garland Farrell from Greenville, 70 and 69. He's at 5 under. And in 5th place is Max Green of Hilton Head. He's on the course. He shot 73 yesterday, and he's at 4 under for the tournament. He's 5 under on his round today, so he's on his way to a fine round.
And speaking of fine rounds, I do not know this individual, but Chandler Mulkey posted a 63 today. Yesterday. And I don't see that at Musgrove Mill. I'm sure the other players are trying to figure out if they all played the same golf course. Because it looks like to me that's 5 shots better than the next lowest round in the first round. So it'll be fun seeing.
I'm looking at his card from yesterday, and I mean, obviously he played great golf. He had 1 bogey, and he had on his front 9. He had 5 birdies on his front 9, And then on the inward 9, he had 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 5 birdies there and 1 bogey at number 10. So 31 going out and 32 coming in, George. In my book, that's a 63.
Yeah, that adds up that way about every time, as long as it's not me doing the math. Hey, real quick, tell me how to do what you just did. How do you punch? In fact, we're talking about it. How are you looking at a scorecard?
Click on the golfer's name.
No, you got to tell us how to get to the website. We're both looking at the
I'm
website.
sorry.
But
Oh, you're not even at the website. Okay. So
I am at the website. Hey, slow down for the older folks so they can keep up with you.
What do you see the story that says partial round 1 results of the 92nd SCGA Amateur Championship?
Slow down, big boy. Hey,
okay.
How do you find the website? It's South Carolina Golf Association, and when it doesn't, then you just punch on that. Then you've got to
go to scgolf.org. Go to scgolf.org.
There you go. Now, there you go.
Yeah.
And then once you go to the scoreboard, now tell me how you find that.
Well, on their front page, they
got it. No, got it.
They got stories scrolling by. Yeah.
So I'm also, because we're in Greensboro, and I know the song said, "If you're not in the state, that's not good." So I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I'm in the beautiful home, the Simpson home, and I was telling them that even if you're out of the state or you're out of what I call radio signal service, you can still listen to us, right? How do you do that?
That's correct. Well, you can get us several different ways because we stream the show on YouTube, on our Sports Talk YouTube channel, which is Sports Talk Radio Network. Make that Sports Talk Media Network, I believe. And then, of course, we stream it on Twitter at SportsTalkSC and on our Facebook page, which is Sports Talk Media Network. So all of those can take you to our live streams.
Well, what's relevant about that is I know there's one fella that listens all the time from all over this country, and he is our ticket to play some nice tracks. I'm not going to mention his name other than his first name. His first name is Randolph, and he's probably listening tonight. So we need to make sure that all those that travel outside of that radio connection can still listen to this great show.
Absolutely. We want you to do that. And if you miss a show like this segment, we put everything in a podcast version for you as well. You can go to SoundCloud, or you can go to Spotify. Just do a search for Sports Talk Media Network. And you can hear everything that we do on the show. Everything's put in podcasts, including the entire show. Now, George, while we're talking about events, this past week we had the South Carolina and Georgia Team Challenge at the Ocady, South Carolina course, the Chechessie Creek Club. I imagine that's a gorgeous golf course. And South Carolina won it for the first time since 2021. Throw some of these names at you. Coleman Ferguson for South Carolina. Ashton Eubanks. Harris Holstein. Just throwing some of the names here of the South Carolina kids who played in this. Thomas Lamar.
Coleman's from Columbia. Harrison is from Orangeburg.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashton Eubanks is from Lexington. Ashton's going to be a freshman at Winthrop, going to play for Kevin Penley. So I'm very familiar with those 3 players' names. I haven't watched them play that much recently, but these are folks, as we were talking about the Lucas Glovers and the Jonathan Birds 20, 30 years ago, we could be talking about these young fellas. They have some serious talent. And that's really cool that South Carolina got a victory in these matches. Keep going. I cut you off.
I was going to tell you that the final score was 12-4 for South Carolina. And now Georgia leads the all-time series 26-18-4. So
I know Charlie Roundtree wouldn't be happy about that. It's better when South Carolina leads these kind of events.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. But it's nice to get a win. It's nice to get a win and start cutting into that deficit with the young folks who are coming up. They've got something to work towards.
Oh, absolutely. And Chichesi is a spectacular place. In fact, I think we had a guest, one of the teaching professionals, Luke McClellan, was on this show not long ago. And I think he is, or at the time was a teaching professional there. I hadn't spoken with him since last fall, but that's a beautiful place, and that's somewhere that we just might get an invite, especially if they plugged in that website and they're listening to us if they're outside of that radio service. Hey, so Phil, the other thing that I need to just bring up, the Tsunami Bar technology. Tsunami Robbie called me, and he could not be with us, so he's the biceps part of this program. He was he was out. He was on duty. He was actually doing some yard work. I sounded like he had a chainsaw in his hand, but that he represents the biceps. It's birdies, bogeys, and biceps. And one of the things that I think you have up is the videos for how to use the product. Now, the Tsunami Bar technology was invented, as you mentioned earlier, in the Clemson weight room, and Joey Batson at the time. He was then, as he is now, the head strength coach, and David Abernathy was his assistant. Well, David Abernathy is the co-founder of the Tsunami Bar, co-inventor of it, and it was invented for football players, but the biggest beneficiaries are going to be golfers. And the reason that is the stick line of the Tsunami Bar technology, which you can go to the website, plug that website in again, and it might be time to bring Patrick in. Patrick, if he's paying attention, you gotta suit up, get the spikes on, man. Get ready. No warm up. You're gonna hit it cold.
Ready to go, George.
Patrick, how do you get to the website to look at those videos and then get the BBB5 for your discount if you're interested?
Oh, gosh, put me on the spot here. Phil might have to take that to get you to the website. You talking about the videos that we've put up of you on our website or your website?
Hey, Phil, I'm just breaking him in, and you know how I like to play games. And I guess you go to the South Carolina
What you've done,
Radio
George,
Network.
what you've done is you're facing a long par 3 on a dog leg right with a big old oak tree standing about 60 feet tall at the bend. And what you've done is you've taken your 3-wood, you've opened the face up, you've turned those hips, and you've sliced that ball, you've aimed left, and that ball's just made a nice little turn around that corner and landed up on the upper tier of the green, and you're putting for a 27-foot birdie. That's what you've done.
Well, I like it. I followed that right along, and I like hitting those big high fades, especially if it's an oak tree ball.
What I was going to say is for the video. Well, if you go to our video, our website, okay, we've got at SportsTalkSC.com. On the right-hand side, on the front page, the right-hand side, we have the digital ad for Tsunami Bar. You just click on that, and it takes you to the Tsunami Bar website, which you can scroll around and look at. And if you want to purchase something online from Tsunami Bar, just use the code BBB5, and you'll get 5% off of your purchase. As far as the videos go, usually when I put up my recruiting notebook, I attach one of your teaching videos to it using the Tsunami Bar. We try to update that. The video, we try to change it out about once a week. So we've got a relatively new video available on the website. If you pull up the recruiting notebook, you'll see that video where George does his own demonstration of the Tsunami Bar. And I must say, George, I love your videos because, well, first of all, your knowledge of how to use the Tsunami Bar comes out, but your personality comes out as well because you believe in having fun on the golf course. You believe in having fun in preparing to play golf, that nothing about golf should be a grind. It should be about fun. Not saying you don't work and practice, but it should be about fun.
Absolutely. This is still a GAME. This is not real life. This is a game. And speaking of that, it was today, even after Wesley finishes his round, not sure if he's going to make the cut. He goes to the practice tee to practice, and I will just mention, because nobody around really probably knows Sam Stevens, but he's a younger fellow on the tour, and they were having a long drive contest on the driving range, literally acting like 12-year-olds, and Wesley drug him over. He got beat. I think he got beat in that, drug him over to the short game area and was blistered there too, but they had a blast, for a good hour and a half. It was pretty cool watching folks like Alex Noren, who is a world-class player, probably part of that Ryder Cup team on the other side coming up, and he was out grinding it out, giggling himself. Now, some of the veterans, they might take on a more serious approach, but almost everybody at the highest level are children at heart over the game, and that's the one thing that I think those of us who watch golf, even the spectators, think it gets a little robotic, and from the outside, it looks more serious. So, Phil, I've always been an advocate of keeping it. Anything we do around golf, it needs to be fun, and even training. And when it's fun, you'll get more done. And that Tsunami Bar technology, you don't have to experience pain in order to receive gain. It's pretty magical, and you just got to go check the website for more. And that is Tsunami, like the wave, TSU, Tsunami, TsunamiBarSports.com if you're just listening, and if you still are by now after I've rambled on for all this.
Well, I was going to say, football season is here, and everything
football,
changes.
What is football? Is that the little round ball with speckles on it, or?
No, you're a little bit off on that. But what I was going to say is, you love football season, especially on Saturdays. And why do you love football season so much, especially on Saturdays?
Golf course is mine, and most everybody around, they take off watching football, and that's the golf. We play. I remember playing 54 holes, walking a day, no problem, on short days in football season. So absolutely, it's.
Well, let me ask you this, George. If your Gamecocks, and you're a Gamecock, right? If your Gamecocks just so happen one day get to the national championship game, and that game's on a Saturday, what's George Bryan go? And it's going to be in the afternoon where there's daylight. So where you normally are out, like you said, playing 36 or 50, however many, 50, 54. Anyway. What would George Bryan do? Would he go out and get his golf in, or would he sit down and watch the football game?
If my grandchildren wanted to go play golf, it's a no-brainer. I know how to DVR things, and I can watch it later. And hey, with all due respect to Coach Beamer and all the Gamecocks, it's a great game, but not like golf. So I'm going for. If my grandchildren. Or my children ask me, my children, by the way, if they're listening, they would absolutely hate what I just said.
I'm sure.
So, and it doesn't matter. If my grandchildren ask me to go play, I'm out. So, and I can tell you anywhere around Columbia or
so
South.
you
Columbia,
would not want that. This might be a once in a lifetime opportunity to see the Gamecocks play live for a national championship.
First off, Phil, George.
Not a chance.
George would never have to worry about this.
Well,
yeah.
Why would he never have to worry about it?
Because as long as ESPN is in charge of the college football playoff, there's no way on this earth they are going to have the national championship game played on a Saturday afternoon.
Hey,
it's going to be a Monday night game.
Way to screw up a hypothetical there for me, Chris. I appreciate that, man.
Oh, was that Chris? That was Chris. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, now this is getting fun.
You'll never have to worry about that, George. It will never happen. I don't care who's in the national championship game. It is never going to be in the afternoon on a Saturday.
Hey, I love you guys even more, but I'm hungry too, and the Simpsons are waiting for me to eat dinner. And that gives. Hey, I tell you what, I think the golf tournaments, if you're around South Carolina, Musgrove Mill.
Are these Simpsons related to Webb Simpson?
Are you all related? No, I don't think so. Although Webb, what Hey, they're great. Hey, they're related to me. They're my cousins, and
okay.
that would be pretty. And so Webb Simpson, I did notice he's 4 under par. He's a heck of a nice guy too. I'd love for him to be a relative. I'd love to get a lesson from him. He hits that ball so solid. But the hey, Musgrove Mill, I think you can go watch that golf tournament for the right price. And if you're up in the neighborhood of Greensboro, it's Sedgefield Country Club is just an unbelievable walk. So, hey, that'll do it for this weekend. I had a lot of fun with you guys, and thanks
Same
for that
here.
close, man. Appreciate you all bailing me out. Until next week, tee 'em high, but shoot 'em low.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
GB3 with his playing through visit here on Sports Talk tonight. Okay. We're one day into football season, guys, and I'm wore out already. So
we need a break. It's realignment is what's gotten us so exhausted. It has nothing to do with what is actually taking place on the field.
yeah. One practice down, like 29 to go. Thanks to Brian Hennessy up here at Clemson for letting me barge into his office and set me up very comfortably. Thank you, Chris. Have a great time in Georgetown. Pat, you have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. We'll see you Monday, a big week ahead.